Hello all, welcome to 100bytes.com. This is another video in the Weblogic series where we are going to see how to deploy an application and how to install a shared library in the Weblogic server. This video runs through the how to deploy it in a interactive mode as well as in a silent mode. Okay, as a prerequisite for this, you should have installed a WebLogic server and it should be up and running, and you need to have some application just for testing purpose actually. So if you want to know how to install the WebLogic server, you can go through the videos which is in this playlist. I have a WebLogic server already installed and it is up and running. So I just logged into the WebLogic console page. So once you logged into the console page, and in the home page you can see there's something called deployments. Okay, you have to click the deployments, and this is the page where it lists all your deployments. So currently I don't have any deployments in this WebLogic server. Okay, let me try to install an application as an in interactive mode. Okay, so I'm going to install a REST web service which is I have already created in the interactive mode. So here two ways actually, whether you can go to the path. Okay, let's say suppose if the server is running in a remote machine and you want to upload from your the machine where the browser is running, so you can click that upload files actually. So where you can go browse and you can select the and you can go browse and you can select the whatever the file you want to. So in my case, browser and the server is in the same machine, so I'm just trying to install from the local directory. So local directory, so I'm selecting the rest web services.war file. Click next, and if you want to install as an application or library, whichever option you want to, you can select. I want to install deployment as an application, so I'm selecting it and next. Okay, and here in my in this domain I have a cluster and an admin server. I'm going to select the admin server in ms1. So in this case, so if I want to access this web services, I can able to access either through admin server in ms1 but not to ms2. This page shows that advanced stuffs like roles and policies. I will talk about this later later videos. As of now I'm skipping it. Click next and finish. So you can see that REST web and admin server is targeted like to the admin server and manage server one. This is interactive mode. Now let's try to install it in a silent mode. So before that, I'm going to undeploy this application. So I'm going to the summary of deployments page, select this and delete. That's it. Your application is undeployed. This is both interactive mode, both deploying and undeploying in interactive mode. Now we can see how to deploy the same application in the silent mode. For this, you should navigate to the Oracle Home WLS server bin folder, where you can find some script called set WLS env, which is used to set the library. You just need to execute to set up the library, and in the Unix platform you'll find it in a .sh extension. Okay, so this is the command to execute to deploy an application in the silent mode. So the class name called Weblogic.deployer, which is a Java class provided by the Weblogic server itself, which is used to which is used to deploy, undeploy, update, or install and delete a library in a Weblogic server. Okay, so here most of the flags are self-explanatory. I'll take a closer look on some of the flags. Like the name will be whatever the name of the REST web application, and the source is the location of the your var file. Targets, okay, here the targets is like where you want to target to what are the servers in the domain. So here it is admin server comma ms1, as it shows like you can have a multiple servers in a comma separated, or you can have a either one. In an interactive mode also we have tried to deploy it in targets as an admin server and ms1. The same thing we are going to do in a silent mode, and should you have admin url and the valid user and a valid password for the for the WebLogic user. Okay, so as it shows, like it requires a server has to be up and running. Okay, and finally at the end there is one flag called -deploy. So that means you want to deploy an application in the server. So this will changes for depending upon your use case. For undeploy or update or library, this will get changed. That we can see it in the later part. Okay, well, let me execute this. You see that this application is deployed in both the servers successfully, and it also says like deploy completed on server admin server 1 and ms1. Okay, and we can see that in a browser, in a console also. Okay, I'm just refreshing the summary of deployments. Okay, rest ws is installed here, and we can see the targets. Okay, you see that it's there, and even you can see in overview where from where it gets picked up actually. Okay, so the similarly we will try to undeploy the application. This is the command to undeploy. So here as it says, like it's -undeploy for undeploy, and the targets you can specify, and in this case I'm just going to specify only targets ms1. I'm not going to specify both admin server and ms1. Let's see what happens. So it has undeployed the application server application from only from the ms1. Let's verify from the console. Okay, rest ws targets. You can see there is no check mark here. So that means it just undeployed from the ms1. Okay, so this is the way you have to deploy and deploy silently. Let's try to redeploy same application with some changes. Okay, this is the command to redeploy. So let's assume like I have made some changes to this rest web services.war file, and I'm going to redeploy it in the targets admin server in ms1. While redeploying, I'm going to deploy in ms1 as well. Currently we have deployed only in an admin server. Just now we undeployed from the ms1 also. Okay, now it get redeployed. Okay, this is very easy, and it will be very helpful for automation purpose. Now let's try to list the applications from the WebLogic server. So this is the command to list. So you can see there is a no list apps is there, and remaining most of the things are the same. And this is also online command. So you are invoking it. You can say you can see that number of application forms is the one, because we have only one application, and it also lists what is the application. Now let's see what is shared library, or installing as a library in a WebLogic server. WebLogic server has a feature called installing an application in the library. That means like if you install an application in a library, it can be used by all other applications which is installed in the WebLogic server. Library installed, which I'm going to represent in the circle in a domain, and multiple applications. So these are all the boxes or the which is represents an applications, and it can uses the this library. Let's take a use case, like we have some common function like a rotating a log or something like that. That will be feature that will be common to all these applications. So what you can do is, like, first you have to build a jar or war file and deploy it as a library in a WebLogic server, and it can be used in the these applications. Okay, so for this I'm going to show how to install it as a library, and how to use those library in our application. First, let's see how to generate a shared library. Okay, I have a like a very like a basic class called hello world, where it will print and get a return a value whatever you pass it. Okay, so the key part comes in the manifest file. So this is the in this man you can see that there is extension name, specific version, title, vendor, implementation version all specified. Out of this extension name is the must one, where you can specify your library name, and all the things are optional, but the specification version, implementation version comes in handy, like whenever you want to deploy this different versions of a same library. Okay, and Oracle recommends that to use the specification version and the implementation version. And in my case, like this specification version is 2.0 and implementation version is 1.0.0, and extension name is like a library name is a share library. Okay, So now I'm trying to create a jar file out of it. So I have com and meta nf file. So in the meta nf file, you can see my manifest file is there, manifest.mf file. So I'm going to create jar -cv capital M shared library jar com meta. Okay, you can see this. I'm using a capital M. That means like I'm requesting a jar command not to generate the manifest file. But I'm manually placed my manifest file under meta in a folder, so this will get picked up here. Okay, so now let's see how to install this library in the interactive mode as well as in silent mode. So go to summary of deployments, install, and in the share library, this is I'm going to select that one, click next. Okay, and I want to deploy it in the admin server, click next and finish. That's it. Your library has installed it actually. Now this is the way we have to install it in interactive mode. Let's try to install it in a silent mode. Before that, I'm going to delete this library. Let's try to install the same library in a silent mode. This is the command to deploy the library in a silent mode. You can see like there are some differences, like important flags are changes, hyphen library instead of hyphen source, and there are two flags gets added less, like specification version and implementation version, and remaining else are same, the targets and username, passwords, and deploy and all. Okay, I'm just executing this command. So this gets deployed successfully in admin server. Let's see it in the console. Okay, you see that share library 2.0 comma 1.0. You should see these versions. That means like your specification version and implementation version. Okay, and in the share library, you can see from where it gets picked up, and this tabular column will show what are the references, or what are the application which has reference to this library. Currently we don't have any application, so that's why it's empty. Let's try to create an application which reference this library. So I'm going to change the same REST web services var file, I mean like an application where to refer this the share library. Okay, in that case, this is my REST web services where we can see like a I'm going to use this hello world. Okay, where I'm going to print and get it's used. So in the weblogic.xml, this is where key part where you need to change something, like we have to add the library reference. Okay, so this library reference. Okay, and here the library name is whatever the library name, specification version and implementation version. In our case it is 1.0. In this weblogic.xml, I'm going to build an var file and try to deploy it. Install, it is in a WS4 folder, REST web service. Next, install this an application. I'm going to target in admin server. Next, finish. Okay, now our web application also installed. Now let's try to see it in the shared library whether we have the REST web services referenced. Yeah, you can see here REST web services referenced. So this application is referencing this library. Let's try to access the like a web services where it is trying to get the library details. Now let's try to access the web services whether it is able to use the shared library or not. Okay, so this is my URL for accessing my REST web services. Yeah, you can see that share library hello 100 bytes. So this is gets printed from the share library. You can see it in our code, the hello world.java share library. Okay, this is the way we have to install the share library in a silent mode. Let's try to undeploy the share library. You see that it's failed because it will say because our application is referencing the share library. So you can see here, so because this is from the admin server, because it's the following deployed application references it. So that means first whenever you want to undeploy the shared library, before that you should undeploy your application which is referencing this shared library. Then only you can able to undeploy it. This is the way you have to do deploy and undeploy in silent mode. Let's try to run the list tabs whether it is listing the library or not. As per this command, it has to list two entities. One is like a shared library. Yeah, you can see that shared library, and it says its corresponding specification version and implementation version, and the rest web services. So number of applications found is 2. Okay, that's it for this deployment. I'll also tell you one of the another feature is called deployment plan, from which is provided by the Weblogic server. Let's assume like you have you have installed an application and tested in a test environment, and okay, I'll explain the one feature called Weblogic deployment plan, where it can be used, comes in handy like when you want to deploy it in a multiple servers. Okay, so in this case, like let's assume like you have deployed an application in this test environment and deployed it in production environment where we have more than 100 machines. Okay, and now we have changed some configuration parameters in the test environment for testing purpose. Okay, now I will explain one more feature called deployment plan, where now I'll explain one more feature called WebLogic deployment plan. This will be helpful in generating the plans based on your inputs, and in this case I'm going to show how to modify the parameters. Let's assume like you have deployed an application in your production environment, like let's assume like more than like 10 or 20 domains. Okay, you want to do some performance tuning for this application. So before that you want to try it in test environment. Okay, and after doing some changes in the test environment, and if you want to replicate the same changes in the production environment, and it is very painful process to go on changing each and every machines. For that, WebLogic, you can use the a feature of the WebLogic deployment plan, where you can do all the changes in your test environment, and generate the deployment plan and update the plan in the wherever the machine you want to changes. Okay, let's see how to do that. So here I'm going to summary of deployments. I'm going to see the REST web services, and assume this is a test environment. In this case I'm going to change JSP page check to some 10 seconds. Okay, and once I click the save, it automatically kick up the deployment plan assistant, where you save the deployment plan. You just you can select whichever the path you want, you can save it. Okay, I'm going to click save. Now the plan is saved. Okay, let's investigate the plan first. You can see that in the JSP descriptor page seconds it's 10, it gets changed to 10. Similarly, you can also add any other new variable definitions, or you can change already existing thing, and you can modify this plan.xml accordingly, and you can modify it. Okay, you have already a plan.xml is ready, and how to execute this, use this plan.xml to update your application, already existing application. I'll show the command right away. As I'm running in a single machine, so I want, for illustration purpose, I'm going to change the I'm going to revert back the JSP page second configuration to 1. This is the command to update your application based on your planned deployment plan. Okay, you can see here there is one parameter called flag called plan, and you can see -update is used. So when you execute this command, your application can get updated based on this plan.xml. So for the testing, just now we have changed the JSP page seconds to the 10. I have reverted back to 1 again, because I'm going to execute this command in the same server. You see that our application REST web service is updated successfully. Let's see whether the JSP page seconds is updated or not. So I'll go to the configuration again. Yeah, you see here this JSP page second is changed to the 10. So this is how you need to update the application through deployment plan. One command called Java Weblogic.plan generator. So which will use to generate the plan from the scratch. Okay, so hyphen, there are various flags are there to create. In this case we are going to use a web like a hyphen all. So that means like all the parameters are created for this var file. So this plan.xml is get created now. Okay, so like when you investigate this plan.xml, you can find a lot of variables, variables and all there. And in this case you can, if you want to add the new parameters, you can add it, or you can want to delete it, or you want to modify it, whatever you want to, you can do it. And finally you can use the same command. You can use the same command which we used earlier to deploy an application based on this plan. Okay, so that's it for now, where we have seen how to deploy an application and library in a silent and interactive mode. We are also seen what is deployment plan. Thanks for watching. For more tutorials, please visit 100bytes.com. We will see you in the next video. Thank you.